Folks, I'm honestly am not proud of myself of making another Dragons the Nine Realms video, but I just can't help but to see how bad this show is. This is just a very interesting way to do an intro. So, if you guys remember my previous video, I discussed on my own personal thoughts and opinions on Dragons the Nine Realms. And basically, there was a lot of things that were just awful about this series, with only a few good things about it. Like, for example, the queen herself, Alex. Alex is the queen of this show and should have been the main protagonist instead of Tom, because Tom is a dumbass. And of course, there are some good-looking dragons in this show. Not all, but some. Others are just rather just lazy designs with very lazy names, or others were just flat-out stolen dragons from freaking another Dragon series, which was like Dragons Rescue Riders, which honestly a lot of people are not against that show because it was mostly aimed for kids. So a lot of people just let that show, like they let that show dodge the bullet. That show dodged the bullet. I can't say the same goes for Dragons the Nine Realms. Dragons the Nine Realms is just absolutely awful in many reasons. And I can't believe my dumbass actually thought that this show was actually good. I'm actually mad at myself. I actually want to go back in time and bitch slap myself on the face. Like, I want to slap myself on the... Like, I just want to slap myself on the face. I just want to slap myself. This show is just nothing but just sheer level of pure just disrespect, laziness, and overall just annoying characters, with the exception of Alex, who is the best character. Everything in this show was flat out bad. The animation, the story, everything. Like, folks, understand this. I'm not against another How to Train Your Dragon or a continuation of How to Train Your Dragon. I love it. It's honestly one of my personal favorite DreamWorks stories of all time. I grew up watching the first How to Train Your Dragon movie, and even grew up watching the TV series and eventually the second movie. And eventually the third. Oh, and eventually Race to the Edge. And of course, eventually How to Train Your Dragon 3. Hell, even Homecoming. Like, I just still can't understand how do these people effed up this badly for this series. Like, seriously, there's just so many things that are just wrong with this series, and that the fact that they didn't even try to fix this stand thing was flat out just shows you how lazy these people are. And there's another thing. The fact that they get Norse mythology flat out wrong. Like, I've seen a lot of freaking reviews on YouTube, and it's literally questionable. Like, how did they F up this badly? How can they F up this badly? And I just can't even process, like, the fact that this series is supposed to be a continuation of How to Train Your Dragon. Folks, if I'm being honest with you, this was not the way, like, this was not how I would see a continuation of How to Train Your Dragon. And if I'm being honest with you, folks, at this point, I'm not going to be surprised if there's going to be people that are going to be trying to fix this damn series. Like, I honestly will not be surprised at all. I will not be surprised. Now, I know what you guys will be wondering. Am I going to do that? The answer is hell no. There's way too many seasons for me to do. And overall, just overall, just getting the story right and just making a more compelling and more interesting series. Like, having this to be a true continuation of How to Train Your Frickin' Dragon. Like, Dragons of the Nine Realms, I think it was just at this point, I think it was just born to be a failure. It was born to be a failure from the start. And I don't hate people for, like, I don't hate people who actually do like this show. I mean, they're entitled for their own personal opinions, and I have no problem with that. It's their own opinion, and I highly suggest people just don't go after those, like, folks, just don't go after those people who love this series. Just don't go after them. In fact, just leave them alone. But at this point, from almost every single video I'm seeing on YouTube, it's just nothing but hate. It's literally nothing but hate coming from this series. Like, this series has gained no love, no respect. And literally, this series gets nothing but just hate. Like, it's nothing but just a disappointment, honestly. And this almost sounds very similar to another project that I know. Well, I wouldn't say project. I would more like to say a movie I know. That movie being the 1998 Godzilla movie. The 1998 Godzilla movie was flat out despised by a lot of people. Because everything about the movie was not how the way people expected the freaking movie to be. Like, Zilla was hated, the movie was hated, the characters were hated, everything in the movie was hated. I couldn't find one good thing about that movie that fans said about it. And currently, Dragons of the Nine Realms is suffering the same damn thing. But there's a big difference between the 1998 Godzilla, the movie, and Dragons of the Nine Realms. Some people who knew Godzilla and started off from the 1988 Godzilla movie, and the 1988 Godzilla movie is what got them to love Godzilla, myself being one of them. So, like I said, there's a big difference between the 1998 Godzilla movie and, well, Dragons of the Nine Realms. But then, in a way, if you can truly think about it, the 1998 Godzilla movie is technically loved by fans. Not by a lot of Godzilla fans, but by some Godzilla fans. Godzilla fans who started off as Godzilla fans because of the 1998 Godzilla movie. And eventually, they ended up watching other Godzilla movies. Dragons of the Nine Realms, I can't say the same for that series. Considering its poor writing, almost no character development, terrible animation, and just everything about that series was just flat out terrible. And it ruins the entirety of the franchise itself. Like, this series ruins the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. And I thought this was going to be a continuation of the How to Train Your Dragon series. But no, it just turned out to be a disaster. If anything, we need a true How to Train Your Dragon continuation. We need another series to come in and to step up and to truly be the series that people want the Nine Realms to be, but failed to be. Like how the MonsterVerse Godzilla basically became the American Godzilla that people wanted the 1998 Godzilla to be, but failed to be.